We often have an idea of what it means to tempt other people to sin, but I want to talk today about one of the ways that we can tempt people to sin that we often don't even consider. Matthew 18:6, Jesus says, "If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." Other translations can say cause to sin. And I think that kind of shows what we think that verse means. You're tempting someone to sin. You're tempting them, to believe in a heresy, or you're tempting them to practice sexual immorality or something like that. But that word stumble translates into, now I'm going to butcher some Greek, skandalizo, which means scandalize. It means, if you look at the translations, it means to give offense, to cause someone to act in anger, to become indignant, to shock, to offend. And so I think an important issue for us to talk about when it comes to sin is the danger of this sin, the danger of offending people, the danger of scandalizing people and giving shock and offense. Because in our day, there seems to be a very great presumption where people think that they can lean on the side of offending in the name of, speaking the truth. And people think that they're guiltless when they offend, and they even think that when they offend, it's just people rejecting the truth. It's just people, not willing to listen to God, when in reality, a lot of people are offended because what people are doing is offensive. And there's great sin in this. There's great fault, because what we do when we offend people is we make the name of God evil in their sight, and we blind their mind to seeing that Jesus is good. We tempt them to this sin. We tempt them to anger. We tempt them to thinking that God is evil, that the ways of God are evil. And I think in this day, there's so many people who are assuming that people are just rejecting God and they want nothing to do with God, when in reality, they are offended. They are rejecting things that are legitimately very wrong in the church. And they may or may not reject God entirely on their own, but there is just this assumption that so many people who are actually offended, who are actually being repulsed by what's going on, are just not willing to hear the truth. And that is such an arrogant presumption, and it's failing to realize the sin issue here and really examine it. There's serious warnings in the scripture about giving offense, about hindering and tripping up these people who are willing to come to God, who are seeking Jesus, who have a faith in Jesus, or are willing to come to Jesus, and offending them and ultimately driving them from God, or at least hindering them in their walk with God. That there is real judgment from God for these things.